Salam sejahtera, Anda bersama saya Rizal Zulkafli dan ini Niaga AWANI. Kita mulakan dengan perkembangan dalam negara. 637,000 individu telah mendaftar sebagai penerima vaksin di bawah program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan melalui aplikasi MySejahtera. Ketua Penolong Pengarah Kanan Bahagian Kawalan Penyakit Kementerian Kesihatan Dr. Mahesh Apanan berkata, pada masa ini aplikasi berkenaan dilihat sebagai medium paling berkesan untuk menyebarkan maklumat mengenai COVID-19 termasuk program vaksinasi.
Katanya aplikasi MySejahtera sekarang mempunyai hampir 21 juta pengguna unik dan mereka semua aktif dengan hampir 18 hingga 20 juta daftar masuk setiap hari. Malah katanya sebanyak 48% kontak rapat COVID-19 berjaya dikesan melalui aplikasi MySejahtera. Pada Rabu, Perdana Menteri Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin melancarkan program pendaftaran vaksinasi COVID-19 melalui aplikasi MySejahtera bagi memudahkan pelaksanaan program imunisasi itu. Pendaftaran melalui aplikasi MySejahtera merupakan antara 5 kaedah pendaftaran secara dalam talian atau secara manual yang disediakan kerajaan untuk orang ramai mendapatkan suntikan vaksin COVID-19 dalam negara. Satu lagi kaedah secara dalam talian ialah melalui laman sesawang khas www.vaccinecovid.gov.my. Manakala bagi pendaftaran manual, orang ramai boleh mendaftar dengan menghubungi talian hotline yang akan dimaklumkan kemudian atau hadir di fasiliti klinik kesihatan awam dan swasta. Dalam berita, Dr. Mahesh turut memberi jaminan mengenai keselamatan data pengguna MySejahtera memandangkan aplikasi tersebut di bawah akta penting seperti Akta Perubatan 1971 dan Akta Pencegahan dan Pengawalan Penyakit Berjangkit 1988 selain turut menjalankan hubungan strategik dengan agensi keselamatan cyber negara.
Dan Bursa Malaysia ditutup rendah untuk hari ketiga berturut-turut pada Rabu berikutan jualan saham saruntangan getah yang meningkat susulan pelaksanaan program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. Sementara itu ringgit ditutup tinggi berbanding dolar Amerika pada Rabu berikutan sentimen yang lebih baik selepas permulaan program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. Menurut strategi ataupun Ketua Strategi Pasaran Global Reaksi Stephen Ines yang dipetik bernama, sentimen positif itu turut disokong oleh harga minyak tinggi pada sekitar $65 setong ketika ini. Tambah Ines, kadar faedah dijangka disemak semula apabila vaksin COVID-19 dilaksanakan dan ekonomi domestik pulih. Untuk melihat kepada kesan pelaksanaan program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan kepada Bursa Malaysia dan juga ringgit, kita bersama dengan Wong Wai Ken, pengurus Negara Malaysia untuk Stashaway. Izinkan saya teruskan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Wai Ken, thank you for joining us.
Consecutive day as selling in glove heavyweights intensified in conjunction with the implementation of the COVID immunization program. Tell us more about this. We still do need rubber gloves throughout the vaccination program, right?
Morning, Rizal. So when I joined you last year, when we were in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, we've come a long way, and obviously since the arrival of the vaccine and the actual administering of the vaccine to our Prime Minister and the Health DG along with other health officials and frontliners, I think we can see light at the end of the tunnel. So I think this is a good development for Malaysia. Regarding the rubber glove players, I do think that while we do need rubber gloves going forward and the exporting market will still be there because the immunization program will keep going for a while to reach herd immunity. a high level of vaccination is required, there's, with the stock market is a forward-looking voting machine, right? It looks at your forward-looking earnings. And it just seems like there's too much selling pressure for rubber gloves because the demand going forward will be a lot less than what we saw last year. So I don't think investors will be too excited about it, even though the demand will still be there, right? I think the remaining demand we'll see will be in the healthcare sector, in the food processing sector, maybe in hospitality and things like that. But the average selling price and the quantity won't be near what it was last year.
And why can inversely do we see shares related to the opening of the economy or cyclical shares increased yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. I think broadly speaking, the exciting sectors to look at from an investor's perspective as we go into the reopening are things like consumer products and also technology. These more cyclical sectors, including energy, will essentially benefit from the economies opening up, right? Not just Malaysia and abroad. If you think about it logically, if the MCO is lifted or relaxed even further, people will be out there benefiting from the hospitality sector. Domestic travel might be opened up soon. International travel seems to be down the line, but at least there's some activity. With a lot of savings that people made from last year, I think there will be some consumer spending, especially as the malls reopen up, and that allows people to buy more things and essentially allows the REITs to secure good yield payments for its investor holders. And for energy, obviously, all this will go into the economy. The increased price of oil shows this situation. So more people will be on the road. Domestic air travel will be reopened up. So industry will need oil and gas. So these few industries will definitely benefit from the reopening.
And will that be the trend for the rest of this week?
This week is I think will be more of a consolidation play. I think things will be sideways because you can see that the movement from the rubber glove stocks into the more cyclical stocks has already happened. So I think it'll be more of a continuation on the trend. There are a few economic data to look forward to this week and next. We will look to China for some manufacturing data. There's an interest rate decision happening in Australia, and also fourth quarter GDP in the US.
And we'll talk more about that, but maybe you could share with us what are some of the headwinds to the vaccination program do you foresee moving forward?
Yeah, so I think everyone thinks that the vaccination program is going to happen seamlessly, and like anything in real life, there will be challenges, right? So I think the government is already doing the right steps in terms of signaling to everyone, not just frontliners and people at risk, but also the population at large, the undocumented migrants in Malaysia, people who are anti-vaxxers and skeptical maybe. They're doing the right things in terms of signaling that everyone should take the vaccine. But there will be pockets of people who resist. There will be people who are worried about side effects and things like that. Other potential risks are, involve distribution and logistics. It's never completely smooth. Not to say in Malaysia, but like if you just look at what's happening in Texas right now with the snowstorms, vaccination efforts definitely will be hampered by things like natural disasters. Otherwise, the speed to vaccinate everyone is key, because the last thing we need right now is more variants or mutations of the virus itself, like what we are seeing in the UK. There's a risk that the vaccines that we have procured may not be as effective against variants. So the speed is key, but as anything in life, there will be challenges.
And you mentioned earlier the key announcements expected in Asia. How will this perhaps influence investors for the rest of this week?
I think, economic indicators serve as a very good benchmark to compare against financial market or equity market valuations, right? So because economic indicators are broadly rear view mirror looking, they're backward looking, they are lagging. So it's good to really match that against our expectations to see if the reopening trend is really happening. So things like in China, for example, the manufacturing data, obviously China has been recovering for a while, but it'll be good to see that PMI index edge higher. The indicators show that the expectations are good, so it's just more about confirming these things. Rate decisions in Australia and maybe other parts of the world as well. It's all about maintaining accommodative monetary policy so that people are not too afraid of high interest rates and investors are not worried about their equity positions, right? So ultimately, it's more about comparing what we think will happen to what's happening in the financial markets.
And why can the ringgit closed slightly higher against the US dollar yesterday because of improved sentiment due to the nationwide COVID-19 immunization? Tell us more about this. Can this be sustained? Is there a target for ringgit against the dollar?
Well, so a few positive things are supporting the ringgit strength. So like you said, the vaccination efforts is definitely a good thing. I think some other major factors are oil prices, right? As an oil-producing nation and an oil exporter, it's good to see oil back in the 60, 65 range. What caused the oil price to also rise is also the supply disruptions that we've seen in Texas. So because Texas is an oil and gas hub in the U.S., we saw a 10% decrease in U.S. supply. So that actually would support the oil price and therefore be beneficial to the ringgit. I think another broader theme here is the weakness of the U.S. dollar. So the U.S. is looking at 1 and 2 stimulus packages that are going to come out in the new Biden administration. So these two, stimulus will definitely result in more printing of money, more printing of U.S. dollars, which will result in, a bit of a depreciation in the U.S. dollar against a lot of major currencies, including the ringgit. So a lot of factors supporting ringgit strength. So if you wanted to look at a target, something around the 4 ringgit range, I think would be reasonable.
On that note, thank you very much Wong Wai Ken, Pengurus Negara Malaysia Stashaway, bincangkan berkenaan reaksi pasaran dan juga ringgit kepada program vaksinasi ataupun imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. Seterusnya, syarikat penerbangan nasional Malaysia Airlines merancang untuk memperkenalkan pas kesihatan perjalanan digital. Menurut syarikat berkenaan, ini bagi membolehkan perjalanan udara yang selamat dalam tempoh pasca COVID-19.
Malaysia Airlines menjelaskan kad kesihatan itu akan menyepadu dengan modul daripada pas perjalanan yang dilaksanakan IATA. Tambahnya, ini membolehkan penumpang membuat pasport digital pada aplikasi Mudah Alih Malaysia Airlines. Jelasnya, penumpang boleh membuat temujanji dengan pihak perubatan diperakui untuk membuat ujian COVID-19 RT-PCR. Penumpang juga boleh melampirkan sijil vaksinasi COVID-19 mereka di telefon bimbit. Pas kesihatan itu akan kemudian berkongsi status OK to travel penumpang dengan pihak berkuasa yang berkaitan. Ketua Pegawai Eksekutif Malaysia Aviation Group, Izham Ismail berkata, kaedah itu akan memberi keyakinan kepada penumpang dan proses perjalanan yang lancar untuk penumpang. IATA berkata aplikasi perjalanan IATA merupakan satu penyelesaian yang boleh dipercayai kerajaan dan penumpang. Malaysia Airlines kini bekerjasama dengan pihak berkuasa berkaitan untuk melancarkan kad kesihatan dan akan berkongsi butiran lanjut dalam tempoh terdekat.
Dan seterusnya, Pertubuhan Syarikat Bertujuan Khas Kerajaan Malaysia Go MSPV untuk pelaksanaan rangkaian 5G yang akan dikawal selia oleh Suruhanjaya Komunikasi dan juga Multimedia Malaysia dibuat bagi mengelak beban pelaksanaan rangkaian 5G tidak terletak pada bahu pihak penyedia perkhidmatan. Pada masa yang sama, penyedia perkhidmatan sedia ada dapat meneruskan usaha pelaksanaan gentian optik serta memperbaiki liputan dan kualiti 4G. Dan seterusnya, menurut kenyataan MCMC, langkah ini memastikan risiko jurang digital berada pada tahap minimum sepanjang pelaksanaan rangkaian 5G. Pada masa sama, pelaksanaan gentian optik dan rangkaian 4G akan tetap diteruskan. MCMC menambah penyedia perkhidmatan yang menawarkan perkhidmatan runcit akan mempunyai akses yang terbuka, saksama dan setara kepada rangkaian baru. Sebelum ini, sayap kaji selidik Fitch Solution menyatakan keputusan kerajaan untuk memperuntukkan spektrum 5G melalui sebuah special purpose vehicle dilihat sebagai berisiko kepada pasaran. Ia menyatakan langkah berkenaan berkemungkinan mempunyai ketelusan yang kurang dan boleh menjejaskan proses pelaksanaannya serta boleh menyebabkan kos yang lebih mahal. Dan kita akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini.